I'm going to make one of my favorite dishes. That is French toast. I love French toast, and I don't know anybody who doesn't love French toast. It's different than pancakes, and I don't know, there's just something about it, I guess because you get the protein from the egg, and yet the crisp but soft bread, and of course all the yummy flavors. I could just eat it any time of day. But I'm actually making this for breakfast right now, and I want to show you how I make French toast. Years and years and years ago, back when my kids were little, I used to love watching the Food Network channel, back when they actually had cooking shows, not competition shows. And I used to watch Emeril Lagasse, if you remember him. I remember him making French toast one time, and it just blew me away. And I'm going to tell you what ingredient he used and what I now use ever since watching that episode. But first, let me give you the basics as to what I use for my French toast. Of course, you're going to need eggs. I actually have 2 eggs in this container right here. This is 2 eggs and 1 cup of milk. I think it's 2% milk. And I just went ahead for time's sake and beat those up, so we don't have to worry about that. You want it in a shallow pan so you can dip the bread easily. And that's all I've done so far. I have a cast iron skillet that I love to cook in, but of course you don't have to have cast iron. Any skillet will do. But I would recommend that you spray it first. I find that that kind of helps with the even brownness. And then I like to put a little dab of butter. So that's what I have in here now, just a little dab of butter. And I sprayed it with just a light coating of spray. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn this on so that can start heating and melting. I try and use my cast iron skillet whenever I can because it does put iron in our diets. And it's just awesome to have. I mean, I've had this thing for a very long time. I actually think it belonged to my mother, who's been gone now almost 31 years. So it's been around and it still looks good. Of course, you can reseason cast iron. There's lots of videos on YouTube. If you go to a thrift store and you find a cast iron skillet, but it looks kind of rusty and you're thinking, I don't know if I should buy that. Well, go ahead, because it's a good deal. You can clean it up and reseason it. And you'll have it for life. And the more you cook in it, the better it gets. So I love having a good cast iron skillet. When I'm making French toast for my family, it's more than just myself, then I'll usually use either a big pan or an electric skillet. But there's no one here but me today, and I just decided I wanted some French toast. So here we go. Sometimes you just get those cravings and you just got to go with it, you know? All right, so to my egg mixture, I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon. And again, I just eyeball it. I like a lot of cinnamon though, so I'm going to put quite a bit in there. I also am going to put some freshly grated nutmeg, and if you don't have a grater for your nutmeg, I highly recommend that too. Fresh nutmeg, whole nutmeg, is not expensive at all, and it will last you such a long time. So I'm just going to add, let me pan down so you can see. I'm just grating this, you know, whenever I feel like I've got enough. This is just a piece. I try and use all of it. But I love nutmeg. It's just so good. You know, it's a member of the pepper family, apparently. I like a lot of nutmeg. Okay, so we've got that. We've got the cinnamon. Now, I'm also going to add just a splash of clove. This is just some clove I put in a little jar that I had, and I labeled it. And I don't use clove very much, but just a sprinkle. Just a sprinkle. And if you don't have it, that's okay too. Then I'm going to work that in to this magic mixture. I probably should have used a deeper bowl, but that's okay because I can clean stuff up. Now, I'm going to tell you 2 of the magic ingredients that I like to use. In this bowl, I zested a little bit of lemon zest, and then I cut an end piece of the orange off, and I squoze the juice straight in here. And this is going to just make it pop. It is going to be so delicious with that extra little bit of orange zest and orange juice. It's just awesome. Of course, you can make it without it, and if you don't like orange, definitely you don't want to put it in it, but it just pops. It just makes the flavor just pop, and it kind of puts all the cinnamon and the nutmeg together. Now, one other thing I usually like to add, although I don't know if I'm going to have room, and that's a little bit, this is like an ounce, this is a shot glass of half and half, and I think I'm just going to add half of that because I don't have a lot of retail space over here in my mixing area. Okay, so that's done. Now, my skillet is ready. I have Italian bread, but you can use any kind of bread. I love to use Texas toast. I love to use, you know, thicker type breads. And of course, if it's a day old, that's even better. I actually like to go to the bread store and get it really cheaply and freeze it. You can actually, another thing I have done, I'll turn this down, is, and I'm just coating the bread in that mixture, is make a bunch of French toast from a bag of bread and then put it all back in the bag and freeze it that way. And that way, you just pull it out and microwave it. So that's a good tip. If your kids and your family love French toast, but you don't have time to make it a lot. So I'm just letting this absorb. And then I'm going to move it over here, and it's probably going to be a little messy, but that's all right. We can clean up messes, right? I also like to use different kinds of bread, like whole wheat bread, or the kind that has all the nuts and seeds in it. If it's thick, it's a really good way to kind of change up the dish. Okay, so that's good. Now this pan is only going to get 2 pieces in there. Now what I like to do is go ahead and sprinkle a little more cinnamon. Like I said, I love cinnamon. It's just one of my favorite spices. So that's what I do. You don't have to do that, but that's what I do. Hang on one sec. To wash my hands off. I have a thing about my hands being clean when I'm cooking. Okay, so we're gonna wait for this to brown on one side. Probably have to turn it up a little bit. The other thing about cast iron, it retains heat very, very well. So you don't have to cook at the extreme temperature you might on other pots or pans, because it really holds heat. So, you know, if you start it on high or close to high, you're gonna have to turn it down pretty quickly or your stuff's gonna burn. So I usually keep mine, of course everybody's oven's different, stove is different. This is on like a 6 right now, so that's where we're at. This is gonna be so yummy. I have been craving French toast for about 2 weeks. And I just decided today, you know what? Why am I not making myself some French toast? It's yummy. I love it. It's not an everyday food, it's a sometime food, which is a little phrase I used to tell my kids when they were little and they wanted, you know, some unhealthy stuff, or they want to go to McDonald's or something. And I would tell them that's a sometime food. And they got it, and they understood that. So this is going to brown very quickly. In fact, I think this top one, yep, it's already there. I'm going to give it like 30 more seconds, and then I'm going to flip it. Meanwhile, I can work on this other piece. And I am going to have extra liquid, so I didn't plan very well with that, but that's okay. I'm going to make some more, and then I'm going to freeze it. And of course you can always top this with fruit. You can top it with, you know, bananas or walnuts. You can kind of change up the flavors, which I think is pretty awesome. You can have different types of French toast, depending on what you like. Blueberries would be good. Strawberries would be good. Bananas, walnuts, pecans, almonds. I love almonds. I don't know if that one's quite done. It is, but I'm going to give it just a minute because the inside still looks a little not quite done. But this is really kind of a fast, you know, breakfast, brunch, dinner. Sometimes growing up, my mom would have breakfast suppers. Here in the South, we call dinner supper. And so she would have breakfast suppers, and we would have, you know, pancakes and eggs and bacon or sausage. Grits. Grits are a Southern thing. I should do a video on grits. I'm always amazed at how many people have never heard of grits or never tried grits or don't really know what they are. Oh, grits are delicious. They are absolutely delicious. And man, I can teach you a lot about some grits. I can make a lot of videos on grits because I have had quite a few. I remember when I moved up north one time. I lived up north. I went to graduate school in Delaware. I lived in New Jersey before that. And up north, they eat something called scrapple. I'm still not sure what that is, but they don't have grits. They have scrapple. And I really missed my grits back then because, you know, grits, I mean, are great with shrimp. Grits are great with breakfast. Cheesy grits. Oh my God, they're so delicious. So this is still cooking. Maybe I'll do a video on cheesy grits. Let me know if you'd like to see one. There's also different kinds of grits. There's stone ground grits and there's white hominy grits. And so they all come from, you know, basically the same kind of source, but there is a difference in the color and the texture and how long you cook it and that kind of thing. But I can make a pretty mean shrimp and grits. Gosh, that's making me crave that now too. I guess I'm hungry today because I have only had 1 cup of coffee. And so I need something to eat. And this will be protein and carb and of course some sugar. I used to have some sugar-free syrup, but I think I'm out of that. But I always have maple syrup, real maple syrup, because there's just nothing better, especially in something like this. It's what you want, right? This is a treat. This is a sometime food. So this is getting really brown. And I like mine pretty brown. I don't like it soggy. I don't like it wet. I don't like it, you know, half done. I like some crispness on the outside, but I don't want it to burn. That I don't want. I don't like burnt French toast. I don't think that's very good. I've got my other piece over there, and it's getting kind of soggy. You can also go ahead and make this up and put it on a platter, which is probably what I should have done, hindsight. And that way you can just dole it out as it comes off the pan. This is going to be so good. And you're going to be amazed when you try this orange, how much of a difference that makes. It's so good. I also meant to put vanilla in there, and I forgot to do that. So add some vanilla too. That makes it really yummy. Also, when you're doing the orange, when I squoze the orange, it did get some pulp in there. You don't really want that. I had to kind of get that out. You really just want the juice and the zest. Okay. So this is almost done. Pretty close to being done. I'm gonna let that hang out there for a minute, and then I'm gonna grab a plate and we're gonna plate this up, and I'm gonna show you how good it looks. This is the maple syrup I buy at Aldi. Such a good deal. If you don't have an Aldi where you are, I feel bad for you because they really do have some great deals over there. And maple syrup is one of them. That whole bottle is, I don't know, $4 or $5. It's a big size, 12.5 ounces. I can get a smaller jar at my local grocery store for also $4.99. That's probably half that. So I love to go to Aldi and get stuff that are staples, you know. Jams are good. Pasta. Some canned items. You can also do this with gluten-free bread. I was gluten-free for a period of time in my life. Might have to go back to that, but I'm not right now. And I use gluten-free bread. And that actually works really well because gluten-free bread tends to be, you know, not as soft. And so it really absorbs that egg mixture very, very well. Okay, so this one is ready. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in here because it's getting really soggy. Oops. If I can even get it out without it breaking, it'll be a miracle. There we go. Oh, yeah. I'll put a little. This is not the cleanest food either, I will just warn you. But it is delicious, and it's totally worth the mess. Okay, so see how golden brown that is? That's so pretty. That's what you want. You want that golden brown appeal. Now, I like to take a little butter and just put it on top of my toast. You don't need a lot, but I like a little dab. And then I'll take it and put it in the pan, I guess. Okay, there we go. Sorry. I'm probably not the best, sort of not being a messy cook sometimes, but it's always delicious, so nobody complains here. Ooh, that's a hot handle. I better use this too, I forget. Okay, so you want some butter in your pan again, because if not, it's not going to work very well. And you want to kind of leave this, but I did put this on a higher temperature. So this is going to cook a lot faster because it is on a higher temperature. Wow, that's almost done on that side already. I would love to hear what you like to have on your French toast. What do you like? Do you like fruit, strawberries? Do you like blueberries? Like peaches in the summer? Oh, we have the best peaches here in the summer. I was thinking earlier it would be fun to make a lemon blueberry French toast, but I don't think you could make that in the bread. You'd have to like stuff it or something. I love lemon. Lemon is one of my favorite flavors. And I love blueberry, and I love the combination. You could do apples. You could saute some apples if you didn't want to use syrup. My daughter is kind of strange. She does not put syrup on waffles or pancakes or French toast. Doesn't use syrup at all. She'll eat it by itself. She probably would. I've never actually made her the fruity stuff. She's just not a syrup girl, but I am. I love some syrup on my stuff. And because this soaked a little bit, it is going to fall apart on me in this pan. But that's okay, because it's going to fall apart in my tummy. So we're going to be all right. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, because like I said, this pan retains a lot of heat. So you can turn it off, and it's still going to finish cooking. And I'm going to wash my hands really fast so I can plate this up and be ready to chow down when the time comes. Okay, so are you ready to go make some French toast now? Always fun when I watch people cook. It makes me want to go right in the kitchen and make whatever they were cooking. I'm going to cook this a little bit more on this side. I'm not going to turn on my fan because it'll make too much noise for the video, but you kind of get the idea. I normally would, because this is smoking just a little bit. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and finish this off and put it in Ziploc bags and freeze it. So, you know, tomorrow, if somebody else in the family wants French toast, I got it. If somebody wants French toast for dessert, this makes a good dessert too, you know. It doesn't have to be ice cream or brownies or something. You can have French toast. Actually, it might even be better for you because there's eggs in it. And that gives you a little bit of protein. Oh yeah, this is good. This is good right here. I'm going to flip that over one more time just to make sure all that egg mixture is cooked through. And I'm going to make myself a cup of coffee. By the way, I know that I show you different coffees that I like to try. And I still have a variety here at home. But we have decided that the K-Cups, anyway, the McDonald's K-Cups that I get through Sam's is consistently delicious. And we're going to stick with that. We're going to stick with that. But I do like to have different kinds of flavors. Like I have some flavored coffee. I have other types of coffee that I make in the self-fillable, refillable Keurig. So I can still talk about that in the video. But so far as K-Cups go, we're going to stick with the McDonald's because it's just delicious. And, you know, you have to stick with what works. So this is finished. And I see that I'm at 21 minutes with a video. Don't want to bore you guys to death waiting on my French toast to finish, so I'm going to put this over here. Turn this off. Let me move this out of the way. I will tell you, I am not very techie. Not very techie, and this is what we have. It's beautiful golden French toast. I'm going to pour just a little bit. I've got a mess over here I need to clean up in just a minute. But I'm going to just drizzle a little bit of this syrup over it. You could also warm your syrup and put different flavorings in it. I've seen people do that. But here we go. This orange that I added to it, I know is just going to be so delicious. Oh my God, that's so good. Guys, you gotta try this recipe. If you've never made French toast in your life, and I have a funny story to share with you before I go. When I met my husband, he swears I won him over with my cooking. I used to cook for him all the time. And he's often said the one thing that I've made in 23 years of us being together, the one bad dish I made him was French toast back in the early days. And the reason it turned out bad is because I put too much butter in the pan and it just made it greasy. And I was kind of a novice at cooking, so I'm not sure what happened with that, but he likes to rag on me because of that. But I've come a long way since then, and now I know how to make really good French toast, so there's that. But, you know, it's just a funny story I wanted to share. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you'll go try this recipe. Let me know in the comments what you like to add on top of your French toast, what you might do differently. I would love to hear suggestions because, you know, cooking is experimental to me. I like to change things up and try new things. I think that keeps it interesting. Of course, sometimes with your kids, they're not, you know, really into that, so you have to be careful. But mine like plain basic things, but at least the youngest one. The oldest one goes with whatever. But let me know in the comments how you like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider hitting this like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload. Thanks so much. Have a great day, guys. See you in the next video.